Hello everyone, welcome to Code with Femi. In this video, we're going to be looking at joins. So in terms of joins, the core reason why you're gonna need joins is cases where you have multiple tables in your database and you want to extract data from this multiple, tables, and you want to just select specific data, based on your needs. So this is where joins actually come to play, where you can easily join multiple tables, one or more tables together, and you can easily fetch or retrieve the data that you need from those tables, using the join command. And so I just opened up W3 School so I can show you what I mean. So in this actual video, we're going to be looking at um you know this section here. So these are the types of joins that we have. We have the inner join, which actually means, so this is the diagram for inner join, which means that if you're joining two tables together, it will only return records that are associated to just that are matching in these two tables, so that the green part is the record that is going to be returned back. For the left outer join, it's going to return all the records in the left table and the records that are matched in the right table. You can see there. And then we have the right join, which is it's going to return all the records from the right table, yeah, and also the records that are matched from the left table. And then we have the full outer join, which returns all records where it's either matching the left or the right table. So let's actually look at some of the examples, and then we'll see how that turns out. So basically, in here I have this query I've actually implemented in a way. So I have the first table which I've already created, and I've already populated some data in there for this DB joins. So you can see right there I have the persons table, which has this records in there. And for me to start dealing with join, because there's another join we call self join, which is you can literally join this table to itself, but the main focus is actually like dealing with relationships now and see how join actually really plays out. So in here you can see I have a persons table, and persons table, a person can have multiple addresses. You can have a physical address, you can have you can have as many addresses that you have, and you just want to, like, let's say for instance, basically you like to order things online a lot, like an e-commerce site. You might actually have different addresses that you actually like you want them to go drop your products that you've purchased on the actual e-commerce site. So here you can see that we have an address table, and address table has an address ID. It has a address 1, address 2. Address 2 is not really needed, because some people don't really have address 2. We have city, we have postal code, country, and created date. So, and I've also just prepped the data in here quickly that we're just going to test with. I'm going to modify it a little bit so that we can, let's say this is actually Nigeria, and then let's say 23401. Just going to use anything there. Let's say Nigeria, let's say Lagos, let's say Lagos. There's one address 2 Lagos, like that. And then let's change this to Cape Town. So we have Cape Town there. Let's use 8000. And then we have South Africa, we have Nigeria, we have address 1, address 2. So like that. And then one of the things you have to notice is that this actual table doesn't really have any relationship with the person's table currently. And you'll be asking me how. So for you to be able to have a relationship in your tables, a field here like a column here, your primary key column, actually this one, person's ID, must be referenced in this table for it to become related. So just bear that in mind. And this is where we talk about things like primary key. So primary key is one of the things that primary key, foreign key. So primary key is your your unique key that actually identifies each record, and then that actual primary key can be referenced in another table, and at that point it is called a foreign key, and that is how we tie the relationship together. So in this scenario now, we have a person's table, which will be the parent table, and then we have the address, which will be like the child table. So a person can have multiple addresses. So this is what we call the relationship one to many. Okay, or in a scenario where you want to say a person might not have an address, so you can say 0 to many. You can either have no address or you can have as many addresses that as they want. So this one, we have to modify this actual query, this table, before you execute it against the the DB. Just see, it's not yet executed yet, but I just have to fix it to have a relationship with the person's table. So how do I do that? I can add a new column here and call it person ID, and also the type has to be the same. So make sure that whatever type you also add in, data type you add in for that specific column should be the same. So it has to be the same. It can be a different type here. So just bear that in mind. So we say int, and then we say not, let's say not null. So that means that whenever you insert a record into this table, you have to make sure that you supply a person's ID. Okay. And then one of the things that you also have to do is you have to also now specify here that this actual person is a foreign key. So how do we do that? We do that right here. Explicitly say, sorry, didn't spell foreign right. So foreign key, like that, and then open close bracket. Inside of the bracket, you specify that column that you specified there. So this must match. And then what you now say is it references a table called person, which has, so it's referencing this table which has a column called person ID. So this actually binds these two tables together now. So if I actually execute just this will create a table and also form the relationship between the two tables. So right here you can see that we have refresh this. You see right there now that we have two tables, right? We have address and person table. And if you go into address and go to keys, you will see there that we have, you can see that we have a relationship now. Address and person has a relationship, which is perfect, So we have that now. We have the table, we have our address table, we have a person table linked to it. So let's remove that. The next thing we want to do is remember now that we've added a person. So person ID has to be added to this query, and then also we have to specify whose addresses are these ones. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with one. So let's say the first one was meant for, let's say person 6, so we say 6 there, and then this one is actually for person 1. Let's just say that. So basically the actual let's just also like refresh our local cache. Sometimes that thing just goes red necessarily, but yeah. So you can see here that we have this command, which is your insert into address. So we insert into records into address table, where this is going to belong to the person that has the ID 6, and then that will pass to the person that has the address 1, ID 1 rather, person ID 1. Let's execute this. So these two rows are affected. You select that, you would see there that we have the two addresses now linking to the persons. So this is the relationship, and also I'm going to show you a diagram quickly so for you to know. Yes, I want to create create one. Let's add. And also you can see the relationship here as well. So you can see right there that there is a relationship between person and and address. There's a link. So the person key is now associated with the person ID foreign key inside of the address table. So you can see how this thing is actually connecting together. So this is the actual diagram. If you choose to use you want to see visuals. So a person can have multiple addresses, right? Okay, good. Let's close this. You don't really need that because we're doing joins, right? So now let's say, for instance, I want to do the first example, which is want to do inner join where it exists in the two tables. So how do I do that? So this is how we do it. We say select list from person inner join address. Okay, say on. That's how you write the command. And also remember that you have to also like use aliases if you want to. So cases where you can just say person then address, or you can actually, some people like to just like shorten it to, so we can say where person id equals ad dot person id. So inner join, it will only fetch where these two records exist, right? Let's execute it. So you can see there now I have a record, two records happening, and all the columns from the two tables are now showing up, right? So there are cases where you don't really want to show up everything, just want to show up address, and this is where the alias actually plays that, where you can say address dot ad dot address id ad dot address 1 ad dot address 2, like that. And then also you can also say that I want to show the person's maybe first name and then person's last name. Let's just make sure we put this. So if you run this, you can see there that now we've we've actually like done an inner join. So these records that you see actually exist in both, in both. Okay, so that's actually the first example I would like to show. So I just want to see, I've actually made that not null. I would like to make it let's make it, so let's see if we can change the design a little bit. Just gonna change the design. I want to make it to allow nulls. So this is another way you can actually modify your table definition if you want to. It's quite quick sometimes where you just want to quickly like do some changes. Okay, fine. Let's go to options. I think we might need to just change this somewhere here, if I can remember. Is it here? I'm sure there is actually a place where we can actually just a query execution. Could it be? See, plain text. I think no. I'm sure there's actually a place here of designers. Yeah, sorry, designers, and then prevent save changes. You can actually just have to, let's see if this works now. Maybe we might need to close it. Okay, yeah, so it's saying that I can do that now. So let's say yes. Okay, now I've actually updated it. You can see that we've got that now. So the next thing now is to actually go into that actual query we've written. I just want to write a new query, which is basically I'm just going to add a new one, just a single one, and actually make this null. Since my person ID is null, so this actual record now is null, right? I'm adding a new record. Let's just call this Congo. Okay, I don't know city in Congo, but let's just say city. Something like this, right? And then let's just make that 222, and let's execute that. So that would insert a record, an address that has no parent. Okay, so if you check in here, you can see now that we have a null there where there's no person linked to that person, right? So this is where we can actually do something like, so let's do like the next one, which is your left join, right? Which is, so always remember the first table is your left table, or left table. You the table you specify first, it will be your left table, and the next one will be your right table. So just always bear that in mind when you're running this. So if I actually run this and say left, the left join, right? Let's go back. So it says left outer join or left join. So if you do a left join now, what is going to happen is it's going to return everything that is in here and where it is matching in there, right? If you execute this, you can see right there now that I have something interesting, right? You might be wondering like, so what is going on here? So basically what we're saying is that fetch me all the persons, right? Because we do have these records, right? And we're saying even though you can't find it in address, still return it. So that's why you can see here for code with Femi, it's actually code Femi, it's actually just returning the person's information, right? So if we do star, I'm just gonna do star there, and then let's remove all of this. Let's remove all of that. Okay, and then let's make this star as well, and then let's run this so you can see full. So you can see there, these are the person's information, and this is where the address is. But for this one there, it's actually no, because this actual person ID doesn't really have an address, right? Yeah, it doesn't have an address, so it's not gonna be returned. It's not gonna return any address. It's just gonna set those things as null. So that's how you do a left join. So a left join says that it's gonna return all the records in here, where all the records in your persons table, which is your left table, and where it is where it is matched right records. So it will return nulls for that. Okay, so basically these are your left join, and then we have your right join, which follows something similar. Let's make that capital later. So right join would be everything that is matching here, and then it's just going to return nulls in there, right? Execute, you see same story there, because for this actual address we don't have a person, but still it's still going to return it because it does exist, right? Only if now you say something like this. If you say ad.person, person's ID, sorry, is not null, right? And so let's say where ad person ID is not null. So you're saying where is not null, that means that it's gonna take this record out because you don't want to see that record. You can see there. So to only return it where it does exist. So that is actually, so we've done inner join, we've done left join, we've done this one, and then we have full join. Full join is actually going to return records from all the two tables. So we have full join. Okay, full outer join, or let's just say outer join. Full outer join. So we have full outer join, and then we have, let's take this out and let's run this. So this will return everything. You can see there. We return everything that exists on both tables, on this person table, on this address table. But this is where you now have to worry about putting a where condition to say, okay, I just want to see from this full outer join, I just want to see specifically where person ID or person dot, I just want to see where ad dot person ID is not null. Like you don't want to see any record where we don't have a relationship. And so with that, it will return back just where there's a relationship. And this actually is equivalent to just saying inner join those two tables. So yeah, that's actually it. You can see now that you can do inner join, you can do left join, which is returning all the records from the left table and where it's matching on the right table, and as well as the same other way around where it is actually your right join, which is fetch all the data from the right table, which is, and also where it's matched on the left table, and then you have your full outer join is return everything from both tables. So that is actually it for joins. In the next video we're going to be looking at the view. Yeah, and I'll see you. Keep well.